It was an alliance many thought was destined to fail, and now Elon Musk and Donald Trump's friendship has spectacularly imploded. Relations between the two got very ugly, very publicly, and very, very quickly. So, how did it get so acrimonious, and can it be repaired? Hello and welcome to Roundtable. I'm Enda Brady. Now, tensions between Washington's disruptive duo began to simmer when Elon Musk criticised the US president's big, beautiful spending bill. Within days, Trump threatened to cancel Musk's government contracts, and Elon said the president should be impeached. Musk has since expressed regret over some of his posts about Trump, with the president calling his gesture nice. So, is this a tactical pause or the beginning of a reconciliation?
Take over, Elon, just take over.
This marriage of convenience had all the makings of success. Musk spent nearly $300 million backing Trump during his election campaign, and his companies cashed in to the tune of $38 billion in federal subsidies.
Elon, as a presentation from our country.
On the 30th of May, the billionaire's White House chapter came to a close, and the two parted on surprisingly good terms. Then, in just over 1 week, their relationship unraveled. Elon Musk attacked President Trump's big, beautiful spending bill, which he called a disgusting abomination. The proposal substantially increases government spending, which Musk dedicated his time in office to cutting down.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
Trump stayed uncharacteristically quiet until the 5th of June, when Musk doubled down on his criticism.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore.
That's when the real war of words began. Musk posted on X, "Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I will be around for 40+ years." In response, Trump threatened to end all of Musk's government contracts. The feud culminated with Musk suggesting that the reason Trump hasn't released the Epstein files is because Trump's name is in them, and then called for his impeachment. Musk later deleted those posts. The writing was always on the wall, as discussed previously on this program.
It's kind of like these two giant sharks that are swimming in tandem. At one point, do they turn on each other? I think Elon Musk is probably a 6 to 9 month person in that position.
Both men have now softened their stance. Musk expressed regret over his past comments about Trump, who graciously replied by saying the gesture was very nice. So now comes the reckoning. Is there a way back from this for Washington's disruptive duo? And if not, who stands to win?
Well, let's meet our guests. Joining us from Nashville, Tennessee, we have Steve Gill. He's a former presidential advisor to US Presidents George Bush and Bill Clinton. In Copenhagen, in Denmark, we have Peter Bardenfleth Hansen. He's a former Tesla executive who reported directly to Elon Musk and is now a board member in numerous e-mobility companies. And in London, we have Allyson Stewart-Allen. She's the CEO and founder of the consultancy firm International Marketing Partners. You're all very welcome to this roundtable. I've been very excited for this one, Steve. We love American TV. I'm thinking Dallas meets the Dukes of Hazzard with a bit of South Park thrown in. This has been delicious to watch and enjoy.
It makes those big soccer matches or football matches in Europe look friendly, particularly the folks in the stands. Again, the battle of the billionaire bros erupted last week, and again, these guys have huge egos, almost bigger than yours and mine, and it was an inevitable clash of the giants, and we saw it play out.
Allyson, to you, we shouldn't be surprised it's ended like this, should we?
Well, I think, you have the challenge of two people who pride themselves on being business leaders with deep business acumen, which potentially united them in the first instance. but it seems to have moved beyond business into politics. And obviously, Mr. Musk is paying a heavy price, or perhaps many would say an appropriate price, for taking his eye off the ball, off his businesses, and focusing on the personal relationship that he's been cultivating with the US president.
Well, talking of business, Peter, you worked side by side with Elon Musk for years to build Tesla into the giant it has become. How have you observed this relationship and this fallout with President Trump?
Well, I think it was last time we spoke, I did say that I would give it 6 months. It lasted a couple of days more than that, but I'm not surprised. And that builds on the relationship that I've had in Tesla with Elon, but definitely also being able to see what happened over the years with the Trump administrations. So having these two guys meet up, it's not surprising to me that they also had this fallout. What is and has been a bit of a surprise to me is the, let's say, retreat that Elon's been doing.
Well, just on that very point, Peter, you know him so well. I'm sure you've seen disagreements. I'm sure you've seen staff come and go. How does he handle a breakup?
Well, usually he's the top dog. And I would like just to caveat here that it is a couple of years ago since I did leave Tesla, 2019, and a lot of things have happened since then, also with Elon himself. But nonetheless, he would usually be very abrupt, and he would be very clear. He would always say that he's never felt bad about firing anybody. Specifically, if anything, he would be bad about not having done it sooner. And one could say perhaps that's the situation here. But I think that it's a calculated retreat from his perspective. I think he's come to the conclusion that he's been a little bit too emotional. However, I think he's calculated the retreat in as much as saying, well, this is obviously costing me on both Tesla as well as potentially SpaceX. I have to probably do something about my pride and retreat a bit here to ensure that I don't lose on the two fronts just mentioned.
Steve, you've been in politics all your working life. We know it's a relentless business. It's very, very tiring. Elon Musk has been in it a handful of months. He looks completely worn out.
Well, and he was working about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as were his Doge team. And I think that it is a relentless business. And I think that in the case of him versus Trump in this kind of blow up that we saw, both men are right. I think as a conservative, as many on the right in the U.S., we don't see the big, beautiful bill going far enough with cuts. Elon Musk is clearly frustrated that a lot of the cuts that he and his team identified are not making it into the law, are not making it through the political process. So he's right. It doesn't go far enough. But Donald Trump is also right. Trump, unlike Elon Musk, has to deal with political reality. Trump has a 3-vote majority in the House, a 3-vote majority in the U.S. Senate. He has to deal with real politics that Elon has never had to deal with before. And Trump has learned from his first term how you have to navigate politics and not just push ahead like a bull in a china shop. So I think both men are right in this case. I think the challenge for Elon is recognizing, as Peter pointed out, that sometimes you've got to back up to move forward. And maybe he's learned an important political lesson. Keep in mind, by the way, that Donald Trump never has permanent enemies or permanent friends. Marco Rubio, he brutalized during the presidential campaign, calling him Little Marco. He criticized Senator Ted Cruz's wife during that same political campaign as being ugly. And yet Cruz is one of his closest allies in the Senate. Marco Rubio is his Secretary of State. There are no permanent enemies or permanent friends in Trump world.
Allyson, in Musk world, this has cost him tens of billions of dollars. The impact on Tesla's sales across Europe, Tesla is down massively. Talk to me about how a bruised Elon Musk now picks himself up off the back of a very, very difficult few months at all levels?
Well, I think what we have been hearing from several reports, the Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, several other business publications, is that Musk is focusing now, keen to focus now, on his business interests. Now, this might be, him admitting that he's taken his eye off the ball to cozy up to Washington and Trump in particular. You just need to look at the FAA and the Starlink relationship, and the fact that Musk was counting on tax incentives for Americans to buy EVs that has now apparently or is imminently potentially evaporating in the big, beautiful bill. And so I think Musk is realizing that maybe he's on to a no-win situation. And given the absolute cliff that the Tesla sales have fallen off of in the report only in a matter of a couple of weeks ago, this is a very expensive pursuit to try to curry favor with an emperor. So I think Musk is maybe realizing that, going back to the businesses that are not doing too well and focusing on those. I mean, X isn't doing too well either. So, I think he's realizing that commercially, maybe that's where he needs to focus his energy.
Peter, on that very point, I remember last time you were on Roundtable talking about Elon Musk and Tesla, and you said, never back against Elon Musk. Is that still your mantra?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you're seeing now is that he, as mentioned, has done a calculated retreat. I think he's come to the conclusion that he should be losing this battle, but still potentially winning the war. That's what Elon does. And that's what he also did back in the time when I was working for him, was that whenever Elon did things, you could be sometimes worrying, why did he do this? And it would firstly become apparent, maybe 6-7 months down the line, or perhaps even years down the line, what it was that he was doing and what type of moves. So it's like playing with an imminent, an extremely good chess player who's 6 or 7 moves ahead of you.
Steve, do you think President Trump was blinded by the money, if you like, with Elon Musk, that he just saw a guy who was so successful, so rich, and thought, let's bring him into the fold? Do you think the money blinded his kind of view of the man, if you like?
I don't think it was the money as much as the success, whether, again, it was the technology with Tesla, whether really kind of changing the communications dynamic with X, whether it's what he's done with SpaceX. I mean, Trump constantly mentions catching that rocket, which is unbelievable. And I think those things really attracted him. And I think Peter touches on a great point. This was a battle of Leviathans. This is Godzilla versus King Kong. And they are actually very similar in that I think Elon operates as a master chess player. He's always thinking 3 or 4 moves ahead. Trump is not so much the chess master as he's got the best political instincts. He's a millennial politician. And again, those two views, instinct versus chess mastery, were going to conflict at some point. And I think that's what we've kind of seen play out.
Allyson, just tell me how concerned you think Elon Musk should be now about doing business in the USA?
Well, I think Elon Musk has a number of challenges on his hands, not least that his brands aren't trusted. So Tesla, for example, you have now new competitors, BYD amongst them, that are offering competitively priced EVs. And also, people don't want the taint of driving a Tesla, which more or less implies that you agree with Musk's politics. So he has that issue on his hand. The other issue, of course, is X, where a lot of extreme content and extreme views are now aired and not very well moderated, if at all, and defections from users to alternatives. And so I think, he has some trust rebuilding to do. Whether he actually has the humility, self-awareness that we know is essential in senior leaders and businesses to be able to accept that that is the core of the problem is another story. But I do think, he has numerous business challenges facing him. And a lot of those come directly from his involvement in the political sphere. And it's very unusual that you have a chief executive of a company or a conglomerate that is weighing in and taking political positions and trying to, be sort of in the administration of the president while also trying to run an international enterprise. I can't really think of any other CEO in history that has tried to wedge themselves so firmly into that political world at that high level and that high profile.
That's a very good point, Peter, isn't it? So where do you think Tesla now stands, particularly in Europe? We're seeing sales drop from Denmark to Sweden to the UK, France, Germany. I mean, it's a damaged brand, whether he likes it or not.
Absolutely. And he's going to have a very big job trying to put this broken customer base back together again. And as was just pointed out by Allyson, we have the Chinese who've been really happy about the situation and taking enormous market share and offering vehicles similarly priced, if not cheaper, with the same technology, and in some instances even better. So, he's really got to be playing catch up now. And that is a big job. And particularly when you also then got this uphill struggle that you've got to try and convince everybody that you're detached from your political views to the way that you're running your business. But that is very difficult because we're also seeing that his politics or his political ambitions is weighing in on, for instance, the way that Starlink is being used in some areas in the geographies. And that, of course, is a worrying matter. And the fact is that all of his companies, whether it be SpaceX, whether it be Tesla, whether it be Neuralink or Grok, or X for that matter, they're all interlinked with Elon. So if you think Elon, you think X, you think Tesla, you think SpaceX, and conversely the other way around. So if you are weighing into politics, well, that will invariably have a direct effect on the people whom you're talking to, i.e. your customer base.
Steve, to you, Elon Musk has suggested creating a centrist party, a new political party in the United States, right down the middle. He's got an awful lot of money still the richest man in the world. Do you think that would be the ultimate revenge on Donald Trump if he starts creating his own politicians?
I think that would be a fool's errand. And if Elon Musk is watching, call me, Elon. I have some political advice for you. The road is littered with billionaires and millionaires who think they understand politics, that all the politicians are dumb. They're idiots. I can do it better. I think of Ross Perot a few decades ago in the US. There are plenty of other examples. Politicians look dumb until you try to play politics as a rich business guy. Success in business doesn't necessarily translate. And I think that if Elon is smart, he'll refocus his interest on, as Peter and Allyson have pointed out, re-establishing his business brand rather than trying to play so overtly in politics when it's clear he really doesn't understand the political game. Keep in mind, a lot of these idiot politicians that he sees are people who've worked up from a city council to a county council to a state legislative level and then to the House or the Senate. They've learned politics on the trail. He's a novice. He may be a brilliant business guy, but it doesn't necessarily translate. So get back to what he does best, innovation and creation, and recognize that whatever he innovates or creates, the Chinese are copying and are going to be competing with him, and maybe playing politics with donations makes more sense than trying to create a third party.
Allyson, to you, President Trump has never struck any of us as a very reflective man or someone with any regrets in life. He just bulldozes on regardless of what anyone says about him or thinks. Do you think privately he might regret having such a close friendship with Elon Musk?
I'm not sure. I think I look at this through the lens of business. I mean, I'm not a political expert. Obviously, you have Steve here, Peter here. This is more in their area and swim lane than mine. I think if I think about Donald Trump, the businessman or business person, I think he seeks out other people who he maybe respects. A, because they've made a lot of money in the world of business, and B, perhaps because they can help his own business. And so, it strikes me that it might be a business opportunity that drove and has driven historically this relationship between Trump and Musk. But like many business partners, they often don't see eye to eye on many things. And that's clearly the case here. In terms of the political lens and whether they're aligned politically, that's not something I really can say too much about. I don't know.
So, Allyson, what business advice would you give Musk then as he heads back to his core passion, his companies?
Yeah, I think if I were advising Elon Musk, I would suggest a number of things. Number one, separate your public life from your business life. And commingling those two things is going to get you in trouble, as it clearly has. Secondly, I think focus on the Tesla future brand, because it's not only damaged, but it's also falling behind the competition, not just in terms of price, but technology. There are more than rumors that the Chinese EV makers are soon to launch batteries that can be charged in under 15 minutes and can also go over 1,000 kilometers on a single charge. Well, that's quite a huge improvement on Tesla's battery performance today. So, and they also have incredibly keen prices in the US market and around the world. So if Tesla is actually going to remain competitive as a brand, then it has some fixing to do. You also have the issue of X. Advertisers have abandoned the platform and are continuing to, and will do for the foreseeable future, because the advertiser cannot control where their ads appear. And if your ad appears next to harmful content that is racist and misogynistic and all sorts of other offensive ways that you can put posts on X, then these advertisers who aren't getting the reassurance that they can control where their brands appear will continue to leave. And there are great alternatives out there. They're not beholden to X as the only social media platform out there. So I think there's
Allyson.
a lot that Mr. Musk needs to do.
Thanks, Allyson. Peter, to you, just give me a personal view on how you felt seeing Musk look so tired, because he's always struck me as a businessman with so much energy and vitality and intelligence. And in recent media appearances, the guy looks absolutely jaded.
Yeah. I always thought that Elon had already invented the time machine, simply from a perspective of being able to cram in like 36 hours into 24 hours. And the guy was still running, yet you're quite right. He is looking worn. But I think he's being pushed from the perspective that he needs to be stepping up as a CEO of Tesla and all his other companies, where he's getting paid enormous sums. In fact, probably the highest paid CEO in the world. Yet it's obvious to everybody that he hasn't been performing. Whilst at the same time, he's running around the political scene as well, which is not doing very well. Hence our discussions today. That would, despite his demigod status, would wear out on anybody. I think a lot of people ask me how I survived 10 years in Tesla, and I would say it was what I deferred to as the Icarus syndrome, i.e., don't fly too close to the sun because you will get burned. And that's basically, I think, a little bit what Elon's been doing. He's been flying a little bit too close to Washington, and this is really burning him out. That's not a game for him, as correctly pointed out by Steve. He should be focusing on what he's good at.
Thanks, Peter. Pete,
Once you see that, then he'll rejuvenate.
Thanks, Peter. Final point to you, Steve. Just briefly, is this the end when you fall out with Donald Trump? You said earlier on he doesn't have permanent friends, he doesn't have permanent enemies. Do you ever see any way back from Musk?
Yeah, they'll find a way back. They're both too engaged with each other. The bromance will continue. But I would point out that, as Peter was pointing out, Elon Musk looks extremely energetic until you put him next to a much decade older Trump. It's like the old movie White Knights. Baryshnikov and Gregory Hines were in it. Gregory Hines looked like a great dancer until he was dancing next to Baryshnikov. Elon has great energy until he's right next to Donald Trump, who is truly the Energizer Bunny. They will stay together. They will find a way back to being buddies, friends, and allies.
What a fantastic roundtable. Steve, thank you, Allyson and Peter in Copenhagen as well. Remember, you can see more discussion and debate on our YouTube channel. Just search for Roundtable TRT World. But for now, from me, Enda Brady, and all the team here, goodbye and thank you for watching.